Now this is a piece of cherry that was left over from a tail end cherry burl. So the burl was hanging off from this side, and this is the piece that was left over. Now if you look very, very carefully, there's a giant sized pith here. It goes all the way through the piece. So I'm thinking I'm going to take it on the bandsaw, take off this piece straight, and then work towards a straight piece on this side. So I'm going to make use of this area, and probably take this area off here also, making the pith just about redundant. I might take a few slivers off these centre pieces. So the bowls are not going to be huge, but it's better not to turn this whole thing as a cookie. You'll end up with a bowl that's going to crack in a very short amount of time. I'm also going to use something that's very new, and a finishing process that I was looking on YouTube, Stumpy Nubs. Check him out, he's on YouTube. The product is using UV light to take it to the point where it's cured almost in 2 or 3 minutes instead of taking 2 or 3 hours or even days. It doesn't like to have water mixed with it. It does warm that side of things, and this particular piece of wood is very, very wet. It's not seasoned. So I'm going to see how it goes. Stay with me guys, straight onto the bandsaw. Should have said just before that I'm suffering a bit of a sore throat, so the voice is a bit different. But yeah, I'm okay, and I'm going to head on forward. So one half of that piece of cherry after the bandsaw hack, you can see here I've got half of it left. The pith has been removed. Now the burl end piece of that wood that was taken off the end. And this is the burl end of that piece of wood taken off. And as you can see, there's some quite nice figurine. If I spray it with some water, you can see there, it's really nice. So this piece of wood I'll say for a relatively small bowl, but it's looking good. Underneath that, there's the 2 halves of the either side of the pith, and these are also useful. Around about a 3 by 6 inch bowl each pair. At the start of the show is this piece now being rounded. It was the best half of the piece of cherry, and you can see this will be the bottom of the bowl. I'm going to turn it around. See here, we've got the figurine going there too. So it's looking quite nice. Even the side of the bowl, we've got some nice figurine coming through here as well. And you're wondering why I'm putting water on water? Well, it's not going to get any wetter than it is. It's certainly not going to soak up, so at least we can see what's coming up on this piece of wood. Anyway, let's get to turning. Some very nice configuring going on here. I'm trying to get the like a 2/3, 1/3 bold shape going down here, very wide at the bottom and then going up to a taper towards the top. Now there is a problem here in this crack coming through the grain structure, which was fairly close to the pith, but it's just kind of this side. So I'm going to take off quite a chunk at the top here, get it nice and level, cut it off, get the face flat, and then I'm going to scrape the side of the bowl to make it all the tool marks disappear, and they're going to start hollowing out the bowl. So that's the plan, Stan, moving forward. Yeah, still got a fair way with this crack. Probably another 1/4 inch, and that should do it. Dealing with wet wood, quick tip, make sure you get it off before the night's end. I got the bowl pretty well sanded out to 400 grit, both the outside and the inside. And I'm very, very aware that this cherry is extremely wet. You can tell that by my lathe bed. It's rusting out, so I'm going to have to do a clean-up job after this project. Now I'm trying something new, and because it is wet, I'm a bit reticent of whether this is going to work or not, but Stumpy Nubs, another YouTuber, you may know of him. He's got I just searched for Stumpy Nubs, there's only one guy on there. And he introduced me to this Clean Armour Wood 757. Now this stuff you apply just with a cloth, very small amounts. It's not cheap, so I wouldn't waste it. But the first coat, evidently from his video, is you apply just one coat. So I've never used this before. I'm going to try it. And the reason I'm using this is because it will seal the wood almost like an epoxy resin, because it isn't epoxy resin. There are no epoxies or any dangerous chemicals in this material. It is completely safe. There are no VOCs. So this is brand new on the market. And the idea is we just use a cloth, and I'll just pour a little bit on the outside of the surface, just wiping on a small amount. And this is the gloss version. There is a satin and a matte version. And you just rub it on the outside of the bowl, all over the surface that you want it to cover. It goes on quite nicely, almost like a polymer. Yeah, you can see the gloss coming up and doing the inside now. There's no smell to it whatsoever. It's completely inert as far as a smell is concerned. It goes on quite nicely, quite easily. Very thin coat for the first coat. Yep, that's good. Now the key to this material, it sets, not only sets, but cures within 2 minutes. So all I'm doing here is holding a UV light lamp 1 foot away from the surface of the bowl. And I'm going to rotate it so that all areas of the bowl get touched by this. Don't put the UV light very close to it. I can already see there are some reactions with the moisture inside the bowl. I did expect this. And I'm going to combat that with a 400 grit sanding once this particular first surface is covered. So I'll just come back in a few minutes once this has been cured and sanded back to 400. Okay, so now there's a complete first coat. I've sanded it back 400 grit, just a light touch, and then used denatured alcohol just to remove some of the dust. Now I'm going to put the second coat on from this material. I've got to be honest with you, I mean this stuff, it goes completely rock hard after a 2 minutes blast with the UV light lamp. What I thought was a reaction with the moisture content in the wood actually wasn't. It was just the UV light highlighting ups and lows, I suppose, in the actual application. And so this is the second coat, putting on the outside. Now putting on the inside. I've gone a bit closer up, so I'll get the light on the subject so you can see it when it starts to go off. There's no need to put in any great quantity here. Just wipe it on with the cloth, as you see, and cover every last spot you can see on the bowl itself. Keeping in mind, you can spend a bit of time just making sure you've got the application of this finish covering every spot of your bowl, and then once you're happy with that, out comes the UV lamp. Keeping in mind, this has got to be held about a foot away from the lamp. Don't hold it any more than a foot closer. Evidently that kind of heats up the material that you're applying, and it can bubble or make an effect. So this UV lamp, which was the recommended lamp to use, I've used a few UV lamps with UV resin before, and they're all recommending a particular type of lamp with the material that you're using. So get the one that the manufacturer recommends. Okay, back in a few minutes once this cures. It only takes a couple of minutes. Okay, so this is the third coat that I put on with this product. I just thought, you know, kicks and horses, let's give it a go. I'm going to put some Acks friction paste on top of the last finish, because it did feel kind of a little bit grainy. But anyway, put the Acks polish on, or the abrasive paste I should say, and gave it a 1400 RPM, and it's come out absolutely wonderful. And the whole process took around about 6-7 minutes. It's completely cured, solid as a rock. And don't forget, this bowl was a very, very high moisture content. There was no reaction whatsoever in terms of the moisture in the bowl. I'm really impressed with this product. So what we're looking at is the Clean Armour Wood 757 tabletop finish is what I used. And I got a Kuvo UV light, which was the recommended one. Now both these two products, I mean, this light here wasn't cheap. You can look up online. I'll try and get some links for the bottom of the video here. The Clean Armour, I bought a quart of this stuff, and I've probably used, I don't know, maybe less than half an ounce on those 3 coats. So it's going to last a long time. It is quite expensive to buy a quart, but it's going to go a long way. Good product. Game changer is what I say. Okay, this is not the finished project as it normally is. I haven't removed the foot, put the maker's badge. I'm going to do that later. The purpose of this video really was to introduce this new finish, the game changer as I call it. Well, actually, Stumpy Woods called it. So I'm going to put the links down of where you get a hold of this stuff. It's worthwhile trying. You know, this has come out on an extremely hard surface in a matter of, you know, under 10 minutes. The whole finish is applied. So can't go much further than that, guys. This is a real nice product. Next week, cheers.